Hello everyone, Dom here from Esports News UK, back with another special guest today. It's a bit of an unusual circumstance this we find ourselves in. I'm with Jeff Simpkins. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Yeah, so obviously, Jeff, you were the MD and owner of Barrage Esports. That was acquired by Resolve a few months ago.
Yeah.
Um, the person in charge at Resolve, running Resolve, Ilias, shout out to Ilias who sent me this cool Resolve shirt. I'm not a shill, I'm just wearing it because it matches the topic of what we're discussing today. And now Ilias has sadly stepped back and you're going to step in.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you're going to be operations director. What's your first sort of thoughts and feelings initially?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a bit of a shock when found out that Elias was going to be stepping down. But I was obviously like quite honoured that the board came back to me to sort of come and step in, which was quite nice. I'm really excited. I've had a couple of months away, and I think it was only like a couple of weeks ago that I was sort of saying, "Oh, I think it's about time that I get back involved in something now." But I wasn't really sure where to go, and then yeah, Dave contacted me and Dave Martin and just said, would I come back, and told me the situation, and I was like, yeah, that sounds perfect. It's the right time. I obviously know a little bit of the history here, I guess, and part of what Resolve is now. I kind of built or contributed somewhat to that anyway with the merger and the sale not that long ago. So it kind of made sense for me to come back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And for those not aware, Dave is at Esports Global
Yeah,
Fund, right? So, as I understand it, they have a stake in Resolve. When
yeah,
Barrage was acquired, the branding was acquired and they sort of rebranded to Resolve. So it was like an acquisition slash merger
yeah.
type thing. So it must be weird for you working at Resolve now, having built up, those Barrage Esports social media pages went to Resolve. You're
Yeah.
back with Barrage, but it's not Barrage. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? It must be weird
Yeah.
for you.
Well, actually, it feels quite liberating, really, because I think when it was Barrage, it was kind of my baby, and it was there was a lot of pressure on me to make sure it was right, and it was something that I'd built. Whereas now, obviously, there is pressure. Obviously, we're working with some massive companies and stuff as well, so there is obviously pressure, but it's different. I don't know. Yeah, it's quite refreshing, and I feel like it's easier to make decisions now, if that makes sense. There's less, I guess, emotional ties to the decisions, I guess. So
Mm.
yeah, it's quite nice to be able to come in and work on it as Resolve, actually. Which yeah, I don't know. It is a strange one, but
It,
yeah,
it is. I'm happy for you as well on a personal note because I know how much effort you've put in over the years. I think a lot of people in UK sports have, but you're someone that has spoken about in the past, funding. It's hard as a grassroots UK sports organisation to get funding. Now you're
yeah.
back and you've got that funding. As I guess you're going to have a wage, right? Is this a full time thing? That must be nice to have that backing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nice because one of the big thing that I always said was all I ever really needed at Barrage was some funding and some business minded people, I guess, to sort of assist on that front. And now I've got that, obviously, with the board, with Chester and Dave that are involved, and yeah, it's really nice to have that, and also to be able to not worry as much about where the funding for next season's coming from,
Mm.
how much I'm going to have to put in out of my pocket and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely good. I think as well though, like I think just because that's the case, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be less frugal than I was. 'Cause I think it would be quite easy to come in and go, oh yeah, we'll spend this money because it's not my money anymore. But I don't want to do that. It still has to make business sense. It's got to. The board have trusted me to come in and do the right things, and I'm not just going to spend money because I can. It's still got to make sense. So, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to come back to without the pressures. Some of the pressures that were associated with it before, anyway.
Yeah, and yeah, again, for those not aware, Chester, you mentioned Chester King is the founder of the British Esports Association, but I know that the work he does with Esports Global is separate to that, or at least they try and keep it
Yeah,
separate. And, since they've acquired Resolve, I think it was a year or a year and a half, a year and a bit ago now, they've done some things like the partnership with Williams,
yeah.
F1 racing team. I mean, that must be exciting.
It's really exciting, yeah. And I had sort of my first meeting with them this week, and it's really cool, to be working with an F1 team, and for me, to be working with a British team as well, in Williams, and be able to go and visit them and stuff. That's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to sort of work with them as the year goes on. Yeah, that's really cool, and something again, I didn't have that, that sort of ability to be able to sort of sort those partnerships before, because I didn't have anybody, to open those doors. So it's nice to be able to work on these sorts of things, and there's many more exciting projects sort of in the works as well. So yeah, it's cool.
Excellent. And then you've touched on a note there, right? You're doing the day-to-day. You'll be doing the day-to-day running of the esports operations, right, of the brand,
Yeah.
I guess. And it's true, I have the same challenge at Esports News UK. Obviously, I'm not a team org, but getting advertisers in, getting sponsorships in, that's not my world. I'm a content guy. I'm lucky I have a freelance salesperson that helps with that kind of thing. But yeah, what you're saying there, it's good, right? Because you can, I guess, get your head down, focus on the esports stuff and being competitive, and not have to worry too much about who's going to pay for this boot camp, or, to get players in a LAN and so on.
100%, yeah, because I can focus now on what I think I'm very good at, and the things where I know that there's people that are better than me, and that that I needed assistance with before, for sure. There's people there to be able to do that now, so it's it's really awesome in that regard.
And I did a check before I arranged this call with you, Jeff. I think you're the most interviewed person on Esports News UK today, and there might be some people watching this going, "Why doesn't Dom interview me? Why don't they?" My DMs are open, right? It's with journalists. Just reach out to us if you've got an interesting story to say. Jeff, you've always been someone that's been easy to talk to and open with your views, right? So I say, I've counted them. I think we've interviewed you guys. We had a volunteer, and I've interviewed you two times before. But then including your players, Megalodontus has done interviews. This is going to be about the 9th one now over the past 5-6 years. But if you include Ilias as well, right, kind of barrage related, this will be the 10th, because I interviewed Ilias a few months ago, I think towards the start of the year. So there's a bit of intel for you. You've done a lot. You've been outspoken. What are your sort of general views, Jeff, on UK sports now? Because for me, we have advanced a lot in the past 5-6 years. Excel's got funding.
It's funny because we were talking about this the other day. So I was talking to Liam from Guild, obviously previously at Barrage, and we were discussing like some of the previous interviews, and like it's funny because all the new teams and stuff, they're all based in the same part of London, like Guild, Excel, and Fnatic now. So it's really interesting to see. A couple of years ago, Fnatic were the only ones that had anywhere. And now there's three big teams there, all in the same area of London, which is awesome to see. But yeah, and I think we saw, with some other smaller UK teams, something that I touched about in an interview with you, ages ago, about teams having to sort of get together and become one kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're seeing teams do that now, which is really interesting, because it's something that I touched on like 2 years ago or something. So, yeah, I think UK esports is doing really well at the moment. We're doing well sort of on an international scale in terms of, player-wise, but also we've got some really big orgs now here in the UK, not just sort of one that's really that's really all it is. But yeah, it's starting to make some progress for sure.
Absolutely. Jeff, I don't know if that's your Discord beeping.
I've just do not disturbed it, because
okay.
Yeah,
that's all right. Yeah, I thought it was me. I thought I turned that off ages ago. That's fine. Jeff, it wouldn't be an interview with you without talking about League of Legends. Now, League of Legends, I had a week off work in August. The 1 week I choose to pick off. All the NLC changes come in. Obviously, for those watching who aren't aware, DreamHack are no longer the tournament operator for the NLC. The European Regional League for UK and Northern Europe. Now Freaks for You has come in, and they've changed the setup slightly. There's this Division 1 qualifiers going on at the moment, and there's going to be
Yeah.
Division 2 and Division 3. Now you guys Resolve, this is difficult because you were in the NLC, and now you're going to have to re-qualify because it was only, I think, the top 4, or the top number of teams stayed in. So that must be a challenge.
And it's a bit naughty, really, from them, because everything that we were told previously was that, the top 4 in each group go to playoffs, 5th keep their spot in the NLC from each group, and then 6th from each group, they go into the relegation sort of battle. And then for whatever reason, they've completely thrown a spanner in the works, really, and gone, oh, no, actually, only the top 4 are keeping their spots, which is not very fair, really, when we were told differently. But here we are, and we can't do anything about it now. So we'll just have to do what we can and ensure that we keep our spot in the NLC. When this goes live, we'll have played our 3 games, I presume. As it stands, we're obviously 2-2, I think. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Hopefully, we keep our NLC spot, and we can build for next season from there, and build a really strong roster to compete. And hopefully though, with the changes though, we'll see finally the UK get that 3rd EU Masters spot back. It would be nice to see, considering Fnatic again, doing really well at EU Masters. You would like to think that we would maybe get that 3rd spot back.
And we've done well as a region.
Yeah.
This whole year, right? XL got to the final in spring, and Fnatic got to the final in summer, and they're both UK teams, not even Northern Europe. So I hope that's maybe told Riot that there are good teams here in the UK. I know Fnatic are moving to the Spanish Superliga for next year, but we've got Astralis coming in. We've got big names. They're still going to be there. I think UK, we've produced talent. Look at, Worlds, we only have 1 player. We have a few coaches, Mac, Freddie, I think, Mad Lions and Rogue, respectively. There may be a few other bits of UK talent here and there, but Alfari, is representing Britain in the top lane for Team Liquid. What are your thoughts on UK talent?
I think as well. I mean, the UK talent pool's good. There's obviously, we've got Soft here at Resolve and Chimera. So, 2 very, very good UK players there. And, I think hopefully these changes, to the ecosystem do provide that continue to provide that sort of ladder for UK players anyway. Obviously, there is less... what's the word I'm looking for? There's less to make UK teams keep 2 players now, because to keep 3 players now, because it's been reduced. But hopefully that means we still will see decent UK talent coming through. And you look at the likes of like No Name, that are coming through, very talented young player. So yeah, hopefully we do see more and more moving up. We've got X Matty and Deadly that are both I would say probably maybe ready to go LEC. Certainly, so. X Matty's won the last 2 EU Masters, so you'd like to think that he's being talked about for to go to the LEC anyway. So
someone will pick him up, surely. I mean, even if it's one of the lower teams, he might be fussy and holding out for a bigger team, but are they going to take a risk, or But even at his level, even if not LEC, he could do well. He could go to the LCS if he was open to move. Either of them, if they're open to moving to America, I think. Oh, I think you broke up a bit there, Jeff.
Yeah,
you're back now.
They're both. Oh, sorry. All right, no worries.
Go on. Sorry, there's a break.
I think I agree. No worries. I agree. I think they could definitely go to the LCS as well. Like, if that's something that we're interested in, but. Hopefully the LEC. It'd be nice to keep all of the talent that we're producing, in the region. So that we'll see. We'll see what happens. The summer's always an interesting. This winter to spring sort of break is always interesting, and because players are mostly on 1-year deals and they run out in November, and it's just a free for all from there, isn't it? So it should be interesting.
With Resolve, Jeff, obviously you've only just joined. But the games that Resolve are in, it's League of Legends, and I guess in some kind of racing with Williams. Is there anything else? Or
Rocket League, obviously, we just announced the new roster
Yeah.
for Rocket League Williams. And then League of Legends, we're obviously in the NLC, but we've also got our female team, Resolve Blue. And then we're looking to go from there, I guess. I've kind of we want to steady the ship for now and just sort of get a grip of everything that's going on. And obviously, the Williams deal is still pretty fresh and making sure that goes smoothly. But yeah, I definitely got my eye on other titles as well. So it'd be nice to expand when we can, really.
I can't believe I forgot the Rocket League momentarily. I wrote that story up. It just goes to show you how many articles I write, and then they're done and dusted, and then it's on to the next one. One thing I really wanted to talk about, Jeff, is taking a break. This gets mentioned a lot in some of the global big journalists. I think Ashley Kang spoke to Mac recently about burnout, player burnout. I felt a bit of burnout earlier this year, and I had to just take a break and just stop working in the evenings. Obviously, Ilias has stepped back from Resolve now and is taking a break. I think he said in his own words to look after his health, to look after himself, which is really important. Now, since you sold Barrage, you've taken a break as well. I've seen some amazing pictures, I think, up near Scotland and so on. What was that like for you? That must have been your first long break in a while.
Yeah, it was really cool, to be honest. Like, obviously, when I was running Barrage, I was effectively doing 2 full-time jobs. My day job and then esports in every other hour that I could. So it was quite nice to have a big break, really, and just kind of use all my free time for me, really. So I've obviously I think it's kind of made me think about how important that having that time is, for sure. I've done a load more exercise in that time. I lost a lot of weight, and so I'm feeling a lot better. And I think that something that when I came back to Resolve, Dave is in particular, Dave and the board are keen for that to continue, for me to make sure that I have my own time, not to be, making calls at like 11, 12 o'clock at night and making sure that I do have a break, which that's esports sometimes, that's the only time you can do. But I'm definitely keeping that in mind. I'm still going to do the things that I've been doing. I'm away this weekend camping. I'm playing 5-a-side tonight. So I do want to make sure that I do have some separation and don't get completely absorbed again, because I want to be able to keep some of the things that I've been doing, during the break. So I think it's really important, and I think it is an issue with esports generally speaking, that people just grind to the point that they can't go any longer, and that's not productive. It's not good for your health, and people need to make sure that they have some time. Plus, I think when you're spending so much time on it as well, you kind of you're not doing your best work anymore.
Yeah.
Like you're so knackered, you're so fixed on doing whatever it is that you're doing, that you're providing a poorer quality of work anyway. So people just need to make sure they look after themselves, really, and that's something that I'll be pushing now that I'm back, for sure. And we'll make sure that we get the right people and the right processes in to ensure that that's right for everybody, really.
Yeah, it's something I need to do. I think next year, if I want to grow the team now, I need to looking to getting funding. And on that note, Jeff, are you going to have a larger team now? What's the deal there? I guess it's going to be the same as Resolve has been.
So that's kind of my first job, really. Like, there's a lot of staff here already, so I need to assess who's here and who we need to bring in, and just get to grips with everything. I've been meeting with the staff and the players and stuff for this, this first week, really. So that's my first job, really, and see what if we need to bring new people in, and where they need to go and where we need support, really, because I don't want people working all hours under the sun. If we can just provide some extra support. So that's job number one, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned your job as well. Can I ask, are you leaving that, or will you still be juggling the two?
I'm still juggling the two for the time being. I'm kind of here part time for at least till December, and then we'll have a discussion from there, really. This initial period is just to get everything sort of in order and get the ship right, and then go from there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
still balancing for now.
Understood. And there's I don't really like to name names because it's not fair on other people, but I will do on this occasion. I'll make an exception because someone I also associate with Barrage. Well, a couple of people actually. There's your brother,
Yeah,
right? And then there's also Frumi. So
yeah.
is that are the old gang getting back together or anything?
Well, it's funny because James is obviously picked up through me, and they're obviously at Verdant now.
Yeah.
So there's definitely not there's definitely no conversations about them coming here anytime soon because they're with Verdant until at least the end of the year. So and you know they're doing very well. James, I think I did James a disservice, to be honest, because I think when I did sort of my interview at the end of Barrage, I was like, oh, I don't think James will do anything now. Like he'll probably just pack it in, and then he proved me wrong, and he's built a really good roster as well. So yeah, fair play to him. I'm quite happy to see him doing well and the roster that he's built. I know he's found it stressful. But obviously, he's had Froome to sort of call on for advice, and he's working with Froome now. So yeah, it's good to see them working together, and James doing well as well. So yeah.
Now, having as someone myself who's worked at the British Esports Association, worked with Dave and Chester, very nice guys to work with, but have goals as well. Yeah. Can I ask what your goals are? Maybe the org's goals and your personal goals over the next few years. I don't know, 3 years or so.
Yeah. So like in this interim period, so certainly until December, it's just to get everything on track and make sure that we're entered into all the right tournaments, that we're competing where we should be, and then really plan for 2022, when we know hopefully that we're in the NLC again. And sort all the staffing out and everything. And then next year, I mean, it depends what happens from there, but that's the goals for now. I'm sure, I've got no excuses now as well. Like, I always said, the biggest thing holding me back was budget. And, I've not really got that complaint anymore because, there is backing here at Resolve. So, I'm sure there'll be some talk when I start building rosters again that there's got to be some expectation that I want to win. So I'm trying not to talk it up too much here. Yeah, but
yeah.
Like, the biggest problem that I always had was budget, and I've got that now. So yeah, I want to be able to win. That's it. Like, I want to be able to win. I've got no excuses now. So.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to ask as well before we wrap this up is America, because you're one of the only UK orgs, I think the only UK org at the moment that has this place in is it the LCS Academy?
Yeah. So it's the amateur league basically in North America. So there's still LCS, there's still LCS Academy, and then there's Proving Grounds basically, right, which is the amateur circuit. But the amateur circuit now plays against the academy teams in Proving Grounds. So yeah, I'm guessing your next question is what we're doing with that.
Yeah, because I'm interested in it. To be honest, I wanted to do an article on it ages ago, and I think it was just before I went full time with Esports News UK when you launched it. But you've beaten some of the academy teams, right? I think Liquid Academy or a few others you've beaten in the past. So obviously, you have North American players of roster. Yeah. And it's been a cool experiment. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know, obviously, if you can say or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, so obviously Lucian and Serza are both there, who were previously with Barrage. They're running the project over there. Obviously, the season's come to an end now, but I am keen to keep that going. I'm certainly keen to work with those guys again. I love those guys. And a lot of the players that are on the team at the moment were previous Barrage players and that came over to Resolve. So I've got a lot of time for those guys, and they are very talented players. And like you say, when they were at Barrage, they beat Team Liquid Academy. I'll be honest, I don't know 100% the results this season. I wasn't following quite as closely with not being involved, but they're obviously very talented players. And you would like to think some of them will get offers to go to LCS Academy or whatever, and perhaps there's the option. We've imported American players before to to the UKLC and NLC with flares. So maybe we'll see something like that happen again. But I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely keen to keep it going for sure. It's nice to be able to compete against the LCS teams. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned flares there, and that has to be one of my favourite interviews we've done on Esports News UK. Shout out to Megalodontus, because I said to him, why don't you get Flares to interview Haddo and Haddo to interview Flares? And it was quite a fun interview. We left them to it, and we put some silly questions in there as well, and some of their reactions were funny, so I'll link that in the description for anyone interested in that.
Haddo's so dry as well. Like, I've been speaking to Haddo during my sort of off period as well. So he's a funny guy, is Haddo, and like the two of them together is just it's quite comical. So yeah, it's good.
Absolutely, Jeff. Thanks very much for your time. I think this has been good. This has been just under half an hour. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just I'm excited to get started, really, and thank you to Resolve and to the board for bringing me back. Yeah, just watch out, really, because I'm back.
Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear, Jeff. I look forward to following your story. I think we'll all miss a little bit the naval memes and themes.
I'm sure somebody will still make them. Yeah.
and it's a name, isn't it? You're Resolve, but it's always something you can call on, because that branding is still there with Resolve, right? If they want to do anything like a Barrage, B team or whatever, there's that option, right? With that
for
branding.
sure. Yeah. Resolve own that branding and stuff. So if they wanted to use it, then there's definitely that option. But I think they did quite tribute to us quite well as well, with the jerseys and things like that. So that was quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, always a pleasure. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Whenever this video, I guess I'll put this video out when your announcement goes out. So it's early October, right? And are you starting straight away?
I've already begun. I started sort of last week, and then hopefully it'll be announced the next 2 days from this video being filmed. So
that's great. Gives me time to edit, because I'm not great with video. But thanks, Jeff. Thanks again. Thanks to everyone for watching. Please follow Jeff on Twitter @HereLiesJeff. Right?
It's weird now because no Barrage Jeff anymore. So Here Lies Jeff it is.
Absolutely. Follow Resolve, follow Jeff, follow Esports News UK. We'll be back with more videos and content. And good luck, and thanks for talking to me, Jeff.
Thanks very much, Dom. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you. Take care.